Hey guys, it's Nicholas here from upgradeToLife.com and welcome to this video which is called Don't Accept Anything as Final Unless it is your ideal. Unless your ideal state that you want to express, unless your desire is manifested, right? Don't accept anything as final. Don't accept the present circumstances if they don't align with what you actually want. And don't give in to life circumstances, right? By making them bigger than you as the operant power, as the occupying power that is occupying states. So in this video, I want to clear out two things. First of all, why you are never a state, right? You are not the state. You are not your current circumstances. It might seem like that. You might be so identified with them, with the state, and therefore with the circumstances, but you are not that. You're bigger than that. You are not a state. You're not a circumstances. You're the chooser of the state. So that is what I want to point out, and then also why you should never accept anything as final. So with that, let's just dive in. First of all, there will be my explanation, and then I will share with you some quotes from Neville where he basically explains that too. So here's my statement explained, right? You are not your state. You are not your circumstances. You are the inhabitant of a state, which is therefore expressed in your world. So we have to look at this again, right? When you are, because actually I explained it in the next point, right? No matter if you are in a state of poverty or wealth, loneliness or being happily partnered, being in a happy relationship, being in the relationship you want, sickness or health, having symptoms or just, not even caring about health because you know that you're always healthy, you are still the same, right? You only dwell in a different state. You as the operant power, the operant power, like your true self, your awareness, your consciousness, it does not judge. It does not label, right? You then from the human standpoint, you label, you say, I like this state more than this. I like, wealth more than poverty. But actually you are not the state, right? And you're never actually stuck in a state. You're only stuck in a state when you lost yourself in the state, forgetting that you're not tied to it. So again, what can we learn here, right? As you know, Neville's teachings, creation is finished, infinite states of consciousness, infinite realities, infinite identities that you can occupy, that you can shift into, that you can therefore express, being who you want to be, having what you want to have, living the type of life that you want to live. I know it always sounds so cliche, like manifest the life of your dreams, but the more you are engaged with these teachings, the more you see that actually, this is what this is about. Like, if you know these teachings, then you should not, just live a life based on others and let others throw you in states and, unconsciously drift through life and, like a play ball in a game. No, you are conscious, so you decide how you play this game of life and therefore what happens in your game of life, like desirable circumstances or undesirable circumstances. But the key here is that you are not the state. Right? If you right now feel yourself to be in any of these unlovely and undesirable states, remember that this is not, the circumstances are not you, first of all, because they only mirror back the state, but you're not even the state. You're just fused with a particular state that is right now and then currently shown to you. But that's not to judge, that's not to label, that's not bad. You are not that. Because you are the inhabitant of that state, right? You choose in which state you dwell. So if you don't like that, then don't get lost in that state and accept it as final and say, okay, this is how it is right now and I can't change it. This is just who I am. This is just what I have in life. These are just the facts. I can't change that. No. You can inhabit a new state. You can occupy, assume, identify, and shift into a new state, right? Very easily through your imagination. This is what I teach in my free masterclass, first link in the video description, on how you can do that. All right? And if you feel that you're stuck right now, I do have an entire video on, what to do if you feel stuck, how to get unstuck. I will link this above right now, which also explains that being stuck is actually also just a state, a viewpoint. You are always clear. You as awareness are always clear. But if you place too many layers in front of yourself and you're too, like attached to these circumstances, then of course you will feel stuck, first of all. So it takes this deep breath, zooming out, seeing that it's just expressed states. Your life is the expression of the states and the things you do for life within you. And then you choose other things if you don't like that. Okay. So that was the first part of the video. My explanation that you're never a state. So you're never like tied to a state. Only when you forget this and when you lose yourself in the state, then the state becomes limiting. So here the quotes from Neville where he explains this. And the first quote is not directly from Neville, but it is from a person that visited Neville's lectures. And he had a conversation with Neville. And there's a really interesting thing that Neville told this person when this person, spoke about his circumstances and how not good they are, how unpleasant they are. Neville just, straight to the point said, this is what is going on here. This is what you should do. So let's look into that. But when I was in my early 20s, I found myself in a situation that was very unpleasant to me and I wanted to get out of it. Right? After attending a lecture by Neville, I waited to speak to him afterwards. I briefly told him of my unhappy circumstances and I was hoping he could offer some advice as to how to change them. He smiled at me and said, "Don't accept it." At the time in my life, I did not fully grasp what Neville had been teaching. I thought he had misunderstood my question and tried to clarify my problem by stating that I had already made the choice to be in the situation I've now found so unpleasant. Neville again smiled and said, "Don't accept it." Right? Don't accept these unpleasant circumstances. If you accept them, if you react to them, basically, if you constantly dwell on them, then you're automatically accepting as they are. But by being more indifferent, right, by being non-attached to them, by living in your desired state, you will automatically therefore not accept them. And yeah, they won't face you, they won't trigger you, right? But you have to live internally in this new state, right? But so don't accept the current circumstances. I left his presence quite frustrated, thinking he had not understood my problem. I continued to read the 2 books I had by Neville. I gradually understood that regardless of the circumstances which surrounded me, I did not need to accept them as final. I began to imagine what I wanted rather than focus my negative surroundings. But rather than placing awareness on the negative circumstances which perpetuates them, you place your awareness, aka you imagine, which placing your awareness on the desired state and imagining something that implies you are in the desired state is the same thing, just different wording. That is the key to go, right? An event took place 2 weeks after I began my imaginal acts that was instrumental in bringing about my heart's desire 5 months later, that of a brand new home, right? So for this person it was a brand new home, but obviously it applies for anything. This principle is universal, basically. It applies for this goal, for that goal, for this goal. Everything is possible to God. Everything is possible to consciousness. Everything is possible to your imagination. So it's not that this can be manifested, but this cannot be manifested. Meanwhile, the situation that had been so depressing to me improved, and I spent the next 5 months planning what I would do in my new home. So I thought that this is really, powerful and great to bring into the video, because here we can see that we don't have to accept it. If we don't like it, then we don't have to accept it as final. We should only accept what is our ideal self, what is our ideal end, and not accept anything as final that is, lesser than that. Why would we do this if we know that creation is finished, that the state is available? Why would we, accept something lesser than our ideal, right? Our preferred self that we want to be in the preferred circumstances. We never accept as true and as final anything unless it conforms to the ideal we desire to embody within our world. We don't do that. So don't do that, right? No, we don't do that. I did it, I'm doing it, and I will continue to do it until that which I have done is perfectly externalized in my world. So what does it mean, right? I did it, I imagined it, I assumed that state, I am assuming that state, I am imagining that state, and I will continue to imagine that state until that which I've done, until that shift into that new state, right, is perfectly externalized within my world. And before that, I will not stop, right? I will continue to do it until it has externalized in my world. Don't accept, as it is right now. So it takes spiritual boldness to tell another that your desire is fulfilled before it is seen on the outside. If you do not have that kind of boldness, then you had better keep quiet. We must live boldly. We must go through life as though we possessed what we want to possess. I close the door. Which door? The door of my senses. I simply shut out completely all that my senses reveal. I suspend the limited reason of the natural man, so your conscious day-to-day life, normal mind, and walk in the bold assertion that I am what my senses deny, right? This is what I always tell you, that the mind is limited. The mind is tied to the senses. The mind thinks chronologically. The mind can't work out the perfect way. It may think, oh, in order to get rich, you inherit money or you win the lottery, you do this and that. But there are infinite other ways. So your job is not to find out these ways, but to assume the end, bring the end state in the here and now, like I always say. And then this bridge basically gets activated. Then you will move across it so that this new state that you assume can be externalized through whatever that is. Right? And why would you carry so much about all the nitty-gritty details if what is relevant for you is that state? Right? And if you have trust in that, usually it comes exactly the way you actually want it, or sometimes in a way that you think, wow, like I would have never thought that it is possible that way. And it comes in a way that is really awesome. Right? As long as you stay in that end state and you go to the end is where we begin. We don't begin in the way, at the start, in the middle. No, we know what we want and we go to the end. Always keep this in mind. You want something in your life, you right now feel something, go to the end inwardly. Already live from this standpoint. Already assume that you are it and view the world from this new state. Right? So yeah, that's it. Right? We don't and we never accept as true or as final anything unless it conforms to the ideal that we desire. So if you have health symptoms, then don't accept them, right? If your ideal is you want to be in perfect health, then assume that ideal and don't, react, don't basically accept these present circumstances. Don't accept them, right? You can decide, because you are the operant power and not the state, right? If you would be the state, then of course you would have to accept it. That would just be you. But because you are the operant power, the awareness that decides where you want to place your attention on, with which state you want to fuse, therefore, why would you accept circumstances right now that are just expressing a state if you don't like that? So you just look at them, you don't accept them, and then you go to your preferred end. Okay, so that is a really important reminder for you to don't accept anything as final unless it is your ideal. Really important video. Definitely let me know in the comments down below if you like that, if you have questions on that, if you are already in this, kind of like boldness where you just go for what you want and don't accept anything as final if it's not your ideal. And if you want to work with me, if you want to, learn how to understand these teachings, connect all the dots so it all makes sense, basically have a step-by-step plan on how to approach these teachings, how to apply them, how to get your personal results for your life goals and for your desires, then you can also apply for a free 45-minute consultation call with Upgrade to Life, where we're basically going to find out if we are a good fit to work together. And if yes, amazing, we can work together. And if no, no hard feelings involved, and you can just continue to learn on the channel, right? So you will find the link for that. It's the second link in the video description. Don't accept anything as final. Don't accept anything as final. Don't accept anything as final unless it is not your ideal. I always, have to tell myself that sometimes when I see circumstance and I think, wait a second, and then I remember, wait a second, I don't have to accept this, right? Important is that you have this awareness and you don't forget like the application of these teachings. You don't get sucked into the senses. It sometimes happens. We sometimes as humans, we get sucked into the outer circumstances. That is in our nature. That is okay to some degree if you don't forget these teachings. If you completely forget them, then of course you will feel stuck. Of course you will feel like a victim to your circumstances, right? But if you realize again that you are not your circumstances, right? That you are not your state, but that you're free to choose your state, which is then externalized in your circumstances, it will free you up. You won't accept anything as the end, as final, unless it is not perfectly expressing what you want. So that's it for this video. I speak to you in the next one. Bye, guys.